The Orioles are the hottest team right now in the American League. 9-1 their last 10, 7 straight wins. And in last night's win over Boston, 13 hits, no strikeouts. Chris Sale couldn't even touch them, which made Red Sox manager Alex Cora not happy with the umps postgame. And then this comment.
At one point there was no swing and misses on tough pitches. So we got to give credit to them, I guess, because there was one at bat there by McCann that hit a rocket the other way. So, I don't know. We got to take a look at it and see, if we find something.
It sure sounds like the known cheater from his Houston days is saying something, but today Cora cleared up those comments, saying no disrespect meant he thought Sale may have been tipping his pitches, which is not illegal if the O's notice something. No trash cans. We are 2 days out from the NFL draft. Last night we addressed the biggest need for the Ravens, cornerback, and some mocks having Maryland's Deonte Banks go into the Ravens in the first round. Another major need, though, is still at wide receiver. Mocks are basically 50-50 for the Ravens surrounding those two position needs. In the first round, the Ravens could land a true #1 receiver. A number of names have been linked to them, from Boston College's Zay Flowers to TCU's Quentin Johnston, or Maryland native who's at USC, Jordan Addison. The knocks on Flowers and Addison are they're undersized. Similar talks when the Ravens took Marquise Brown the first in 2019.
I don't think Zay is an undersized guy. He's off our board. I don't think Addison's off our board as a quote-unquote undersized guy. They've got superpowers that are going to make them successful. It's just what's the best fit in our offense, and are they there, and who else is there at that time.
Hey, the O's now go for 8 straight. That's tonight when Sports Unlimited continues.
Morgan, thank you. Coming up on Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock, an osprey rescued in Baltimore County. How Maryland DNR were able to track and keep the rare bird. Plus, Fox 45 News presses city leaders on how millions of dollars will be spent on violence prevention groups while analyzing the data showing police may have a long summer ahead.
The Safe Streets program receiving a funding increase of $5 million. See the mayor's response when we ask how that money will be spent and how it's expected to keep you safe. And with summer just 2 months away, we're taking a look at crime over the years to see what could change as crime spikes and we head into those warmer months. Trends show a lot of work is still needed.
President Biden launching his re-election campaign, but can he win with the economy as is? I'm Atrell Nashar with a closer look coming up.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Maxine Stryker in for Mary Bubala. The Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock starts right now with the exclusive Fox track, Your Baltimore Minute.
Piled up behind this 86-year-old man's home.
I'm as old as the trash. That's how long I've been here. Well, you see a mattress, you see a sofa, you see, well, Lord, what isn't over here? I don't even know.
Mountains of trash.
Year after year, Culver City, they come out. A while ago, we took a little trash from beside that car right there, but they never touched none of this.
He says over the years, nothing significant has been done to clean up the view from his back porch.
Despite digging for details about how the program is working to save lives and working to bring more information about accountability surrounding the millions of dollars to the program forward,
Monty will invest ARPA dollars in Safe Streets administration for the first time of $5 million.
Through our investigation, we found Safe Streets locations allowed to have up to $500 in petty cash a month. That's about $120,000 every year, and we have yet to find out how that money is being spent.
Developing now, a man is in critical condition after being shot in Northwest Baltimore. Fox 45 News sent a crew to the Reisterstown Road Plaza where the call came from, but we were not allowed to remain on the center's property long before we were asked to leave. BPD tells us when their officers arrived, they found a man had been shot multiple times. Detectives are on the scene searching for leads. There is no suspect information at this time. And also developing tonight, 17-year-old Anquan Jackson has died from his injuries following a triple shooting on April 16th. This is video from that scene 9 days ago. He was one of 3 people found shot inside a stolen car. Police said he was involved in a dice game. A 15-year-old and 18-year-old were also shot. Homicide detectives are investigating, and anyone with information is asked to call Baltimore police. Jackson is the 10th person under the age of 18 killed in Baltimore this year, and we are not even a third of the way through 2023. The numbers for the previous 4 years are for full years, so we are on pace to top those numbers, unfortunately. And despite the surge in violence this month, the mayor and his administration are touting the work of its violence interruption programs, announcing a $5 million funding increase going towards Safe Streets. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost pressed the mayor on how that money will be spent and if the program is having an impact.
How petty cash is spent at the various Safe Streets locations, why some workers are going to New York City, and how are mediations tracked and reported are all questions we've been asking throughout this investigation. Despite some of those unanswered questions, Mayor Brandon Scott doubling down on his commitment, announcing new funding going to the Safe Streets program.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here.
The community violence intervention ecosystem, something Mayor Brandon Scott has been talking about for a year. A web of programs working to curb the gun violence crisis gripping Baltimore for almost the last decade.
The work is ever evolving.
While touting the efforts and plans to expand,
Let's talk about Safe Streets.
The focus remains on Safe Streets, an anchor, as Shantae Jackson says, the director of the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. Despite digging for details about how the program is working to save lives and working to bring more information about accountability surrounding the millions of dollars to the program forward,
Monty will invest ARPA dollars in Safe Streets administration for the first time of $5 million.
Fox 45 News has gone to all the locations multiple times. The city limits Safe Streets workers from speaking to Fox 45 News about their efforts.
Have anything to say, no statements whatsoever. Y'all have a great day.
Through our investigation, we found Safe Streets locations allowed to have up to $500 in petty cash a month, and we have yet to find out how that money is being spent. Does the city or the CBOs have the receipts for the petty cash that each location has and how that money is spent?
We'll follow up with you. We know that these programs, again, Mackenzie, that have been proven not by us and analyzed not by the city of Baltimore, independently by Johns Hopkins, one of the most prestigious and well-respected institutions in the world, to say that this program works. and that's what we should be talking about today.
The mayor's office never following up with us. And here's that Johns Hopkins report touted by the mayor. He and Director Jackson point to the effectiveness of Safe Streets outlined in the pages as justification for pouring more money into the efforts. They also don't mention the city commissioned the study and spent nearly $150,000 for it. The Hopkins study also says that there was no significant change in homicides in the 6 newer program locations for the Safe Streets program. After more than a year of asking the city to show the public how violence interrupters do their mediation, what counts as a mediation, and track the progress.
That in partnership with Administrators Catholic Charities and LifeBridge Health, Monty will be producing quarterly and annual Safe Streets reports.
No timeline given for when those details will be shared with the city about a program partly funded with city taxpayer dollars. Given the renewed push to continue with Safe Streets, a program with a rocky track record of effectiveness, transparency, and accountability, we renewed our push for more details. Will you and Director Jackson agree to do an interview with us to talk about this moving forward and how this $5 million will help grow the Safe Streets locations?
Well, again, I think that what you should think about that is, Mackenzie, well, what are you asking for an interview? Let's get that question very clearly. What do you want to interview us about? The success of Safe Streets?
I would talk about the Safe Streets program, yes. You and Director Jackson.
We'll get back to you and let you know about that.
Why won't you?
I didn't say that we wouldn't. Next question.
Mayor and Director Jackson's teams ignoring our follow-up questions about how exactly the new $5 million will be spent and about setting up that interview. This entire ecosystem also includes putting violence intervention programs in 3 different high schools across Baltimore. When it was first announced, the efforts were supposed to launch in the spring of this school year, but now the city says it'll begin in the fall. We asked the city why the delay, and again, those questions ignored. In the newsroom, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Well, that brings us to our question of the day. Would $5 million be better spent on Safe Streets or Baltimore police? So far, 99% of you who voted say police. You can make your voice heard right now at foxbaltimore.com/vote. Homicides and non-fatal shootings are down this year compared to last, but is the city getting safer? Fox 45's Alexa Ashwell took a look at crime trends throughout the past couple years to see what changes we could see as we head into the summer months.
Right now, homicides and non-fatal shootings are down. We also found the city finished the first quarter of this year with 64 homicides. That's a 25% drop compared to 2022's first quarter. But we also found year after year in the data that as the months get warmer, crime increases. It was a violent start to April here in Baltimore, with 2 teens shot at the Inner Harbor on Easter Sunday. And while homicides and non-fatal shootings are down across the city compared to this time last year, historically, crime increases in the warmer months. Here, a breakdown of the year-to-year homicide data showing since 2017, homicides have increased from the first quarter of the year to the second quarter, including since Mayor Brandon Scott's time in office. Last year, homicides jumped 23% when comparing January, February, and March numbers to quarter 2, which includes April, May, and June. 2021 homicides increased by 30%. The mayor questioned, in a city that's seen more than 300 homicides a year for the past 8 years, if he's confident these numbers will stay down.
I'm confident that we will continue to work each and every day.
The mayor taking his answer to his holistic approach to reducing crime, mentioning the creation of the community violence intervention ecosystem and plans to expand the group violence reduction strategy.
We want that percentage to grow in the right direction, and that's what we're going to work towards every day from a standpoint of doing the both and. From our CVI work that includes the totalness of what we're trying to do to reduce violent crime.
But the mayor receiving some pushback as an integral part of GVRS calls for focused police resources, and the department remains nearly 500 officers short.
This one is critical. This one, I would dare say, is the most critical. It gets to the department's ability to immediately respond to a crisis.
Yes, I'm very confident that we're going to be able to move GVRS as we're continuing to move in the right direction. We've already expanded into another district. GVRS is a working program that we're going to continue to expand in Baltimore City, period.
The mayor doubling down on his approach as the city enters warmer months that historically come with more crime. Another mandate that will call for additional police resources, the mayor's citywide youth curfew, which will go into effect in about a month. Reporting outside police headquarters, Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
Breaking this evening, several students from Meade Middle School in Fort Meade and Anne Arundel County are being evaluated after someone set off pepper spray apparently on a bus. That school bus stopped where 198 and 32 meet near Tipton Airport. Anne Arundel County school officials tell Fox 45 News the students involved have been identified. When we have more information about what unfolded, we'll have that update for you. Maxine?
Here's a look at today's top trending stories. Number one, funeral services held this morning for 12-year-old Jalen Richards, who was shot and killed last Saturday in Westport. Family and friends gathered at St. Matthew's New Life United Methodist Church. His mother, aunt, and grandmother, they spoke to Fox 45 News last week, telling us Jalen was caught up in the wrong crowd and recruited by older gang members. Number two, an expert consultant brought in to examine Laurel Park's track in the wake of 5 horse deaths there this month alone. 2 this past Thursday. Now, this is the Maryland Racing Commission's emergency meeting today, as the Maryland Jockey Club had resisted that track review. The Jockey Club maintains the surfaces are safe, but last week indefinitely suspended racing at Laurel Park amid concerns from owners and trainers. It's still too early to know when racing will resume. Reactions are rolling in after President Biden announced his re-election bid. Next, a look at what some politicians here in Maryland are saying. A lab seized in Sudan containing several deadly diseases, what the World Health Organization is warning as violence continues throughout the country.
And the O's and the Red Sox continue the series tonight at Camden Yards. First pitch, that's at 7:05. Still a little on the cool side, 58. Need a jacket here as we see a big O's win hopefully tonight by the 9th inning. Low to mid-50s. I'm going to let you know how long it's going to stay cool and when rain moves in my Weather Authority forecast.
Tonight, we're following the national reaction to the president's decision to run for re-election. Let's take a look at what some prominent political figures in Maryland and around the country are saying right now. Hear from Nikki Haley, who's running for president, released for the Republican nomination. Nikki Haley says Joe Biden has been the weakest president in modern history. It's time to retire Joe Biden and make America strong and proud again. Maryland Governor Wes Moore, this is our moment. Mr. President, Maryland has your back. This coming in from Brandon Scott. President Biden has led with the level of intentionality on issues that have been plaguing our country for decades. The GOP, though, says you'd think someone campaigning to finish the job would name at least one first-term accomplishment in his announcement video. And this one coming in from Hillary Clinton, who ran for president herself. Joe and Kamala are the best people for the job of defending our democracy, fighting for our rights, and making sure everyone has a fair shot.
Well, as Biden launches his re-election campaign, polls show the economy and inflation continue to be top issues for voters and could be a headwind for their campaign. National correspondent Atra El-Nashar has the latest.
The President of the United States, Joe Biden.
President Biden, once again, a presidential candidate. In his first remarks since launching his campaign Tuesday, promoting his economic agenda.
It's time to finish the job.
Drawing a contrast with Republicans.
They believe the best way to grow the economy is from the top down, and then to watch the benefits trickle down to the rest of us.
A new poll by The Economist and YouGov shows American adults continue to rank inflation and jobs in the economy as their top issues. But the president's approval ratings on both issues are underwater.
We will get through this together.
When President Biden took office in January 2021, the nation was still reeling from the pandemic. Vaccines not yet widely available, and the economy essentially at a standstill. Unemployment was 6.3%. Now it's tied for a 50-year low at 3.5%. Annual inflation was just 1.4%, spiking over the next year and a half, peaking at 9.1%, falling last month to 5%.
I know that there's a lot of pessimism out there, and you can't ignore the fact that there is high inflation, or at least relatively high inflation. At this juncture, I don't see the economy being a slam dunk for the incumbent, in this case Biden, or something that's going to be a big negative. Because again, the economy is solid, it's sound. It's not doing great, it's doing good.
Economic issues have plagued one-term presidencies in the past. High unemployment under President Gerald Ford, soaring inflation under President Jimmy Carter, and under President George H.W. Bush, sluggish GDP growth and a soaring poverty rate.
Those conditions are far worse than the present, but that's not stopping the president's opponents from making it a target. In Washington, I'm Atra El-Nashar.
Taking a look now at the Fox Quad Box. Top left, fighting continues in Sudan's capital with the seizure of a laboratory that holds several deadly viruses. The World Health Organization warning of a high risk of biological hazard after they say a Sudanese military faction took over a lab that holds samples of measles, polio, and cholera. Technicians were unable to secure those samples. Top right, jury selection began in the rape case against former President Donald Trump. Former magazine columnist E. Jean Carroll alleges that he raped her in a department store in the mid-1990s. Trump has denied all allegations and is not expected to attend the trial. Bottom left, 5 of the 6 suspects in the Alabama mass shooting that left 4 dead appearing in court today. At today's hearing, a judge will determine whether to approve or deny bond. Defendants accused of violent crimes can be held. All 6 suspects are facing murder charges. Bottom right, singer and human rights activist Harry Belafonte has died. His publicist saying he died of congestive heart failure. This morning, Belafonte was often called the king of Calypso after his 1956 hit, The Banana Boat Song. He was 96 years old.
And certainly a big loss for the music community there. We've got the Fox Triple Cast looking at some partial sunshine as the sun gradually begins to set. Mile 1000 cam, Toyota Shina Harbor Skycam HD radar looks nice and clean and quiet with some clear skies, well, rain-free skies overhead. The next weather maker slated to move in as we head into the middle of this week. I actually checked the O's take on the Boston Red Sox at 6:35 tonight, and the weather for that is going to be a little bit on the cool side, but no rain. So that's some good news. Now, the bad news is by tomorrow afternoon, this weather maker moves in from Wichita all the way down to almost Memphis. And that is going to take the sunshine we've had and give us rain showers and maybe even a rumble of thunder during the PM commute tomorrow as that next weather maker moves in, combines with some Gulf of Mexico and also southern Atlantic moisture. Right now, just a few steps away from Camden Yards. It's 58 degrees downtown on the Toyota Eastern Harbor Skycam. Winds out of the west at 6. Humidity is very low at 30%. Temperatures all across the board, generally in the 50s, except 61 at Westminster and over Frederick as well. Some warmer numbers, not by much, but by a couple of degrees down to our south and southwest. So we may improve on the temperatures we had today, which got up to 61, by a few degrees for tomorrow afternoon. Now, for the O's game this evening, a few extra clouds, temperatures falling through the 50s into tomorrow. Starts off primarily dry, although there could be a spot shower. Temperatures rise through the 40s into the 50s and low to mid 60s by tomorrow afternoon. Ooh, look at that rain right along the Beltway and I-97 down to the Bay Bridge right during the afternoon commute. By about 7, 8 o'clock in the evening begins moving east, and after midnight should slide away. I'm going to let you know when we'll see another few rounds of rain in the exclusive 10-day forecast after the break.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Unseasonably cold air greeted this horse in Steubenville, Ohio this morning, while frost also turned this plant into a work of art. Winter won't let go in Michigan either. Snow this morning and a freeze warning until tomorrow morning. No snow here in Tennessee, just gorgeous hues of purple, red, and orange.
Listen to Off the Radar. New episodes every Tuesday. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
A look inside one Texas migrant facility, the struggles they're facing as resources for migrants continue to dwindle. With Title 42 coming to an end next month, San Antonio is preparing for an influx of migrants to arrive. Alex Trevino takes a look inside one Texas Migrant Resource Center where migrants say they aren't receiving enough help.
Many of the migrants we spoke to today say while they're thankful for the help they're getting here at the Migrant Resource Center, they also say they're not getting some of the essentials like enough food. One woman says she's willing to panhandle just to feed her children.
La comida simplemente manzana y naranja.
The only food that's offered, oranges and